Have you ever heard of zombies? Many people believe that they are in the forest, and one day they will massacre all the people. Deep within the Cleveland Mountains, the village of Calipers shone like a green jewel. But behind this tranquil beauty lay a dark secret. Legend has it that in the distant past, this village was the site of sinister rituals. The old-timers whispered of evil forces awakening in the region. With its sunset, the shadow of fear crept into the hearts of the villagers, reminding them of the curse that hung over their village. And now, after years, those curses had risen again. Calipers, an ancient and peaceful village, had recently undergone strange changes. The birds no longer sang, and the wild animals had fled the village. At night, strange cries echoed from the mountains, and the villagers saw hideous and terrifying faces in their dreams. Many of the villagers saw these events as a sign of a great disaster. It was as if an invisible force had cast a shadow over the village, disturbing its peace. The tranquil, ancient village of Calipers, nestled in the heart of the Cleveland Mountains, had been a peaceful sanctuary for its inhabitants for years. Its thatched cottages, narrow lanes, and lush gardens exuded the charm of a simple rural life. But one night, this tranquility was shattered, transforming the village into a veritable hell on earth. It all began when one of the village shepherds returned, distraught and wide-eyed. He spoke of a strange and terrifying encounter in the mountains. He described people with his skin peeled from their bones, hollow eyes, and horrifying grins who had attacked him. Initially, the villagers dismissed these tales as mere fantasy, but when several others returned with similar symptoms, fear gripped them. That night, the nightmare began, blood-curdling screams, the shattering of glass and doors, and howls that echoed from the darkness shattered the night's silence. The undead, one after another, stormed the village. With lifeless eyes and drooping limbs, they longed at the villagers, biting anyone who crossed their path. Terror spread through the village like wildfire. People frantically searched for shelter. Some barricaded themselves in their homes, others fled towards the mountains, while many others were trapped in the village streets and met a gruesome end. Amidst this chaos, a small group of villagers decided to fight back. Armed with whatever they could find, including knives, axes, and sticks, they confronted the zombies. But the number of zombies was growing exponentially, and their resistance seemed futile. By nightfall, the village of Calipers had transformed into a bloody battlefield. The wooden houses that were once symbols of peace were now the lairs of zombies. The heart-wrenching cries and struggles of humans mingled with the savage roars of the zombies. They small resistance group fought with all their might, but their numbers dwindled with each passing moment. A young woman looked around with terrified eyes. She held her young daughter close, trying to comfort her. But the groans of the zombies and the stench of rotting flesh had shattered their peace. Suddenly, a zombie lunged towards them. A young man with them severed the zombie's head with a blow from his axe. But the zombies, like a roaring wave, charged towards them. Meanwhile, in a corner of the village, an old man with a white beard and bright eyes stood on a hill. He held an ancient book and murmured softly. It was said that this book contained the dark secrets of the village. With his eyes closed, the old man pointed to the sky and said in a loud voice, "The force of darkness have invaded this village, but we will not surrender, we will fight together. At that very moment, something extraordinary happened. The sky darkened, and the blinding flash of lightning illuminated the heavens. A cold, biting wind howled, and the trees swayed violently. The zombies, terrified by these sudden changes, paused for a moment. In that instant, the old man raised the ancient book towards the sky and shouted, "In the name of the forces of light, I banish you." With this cry, a blinding light emanated from the old man's book and surged towards the zombies. Unable to withstand the light, the zombies began to burn. Within minutes, most of the zombies had been destroyed, and a relative calm returned to the village. But this peace was short-lived. With his eyes closed, the old man took a deep breath and said, "We have defeated the zombies, but the war is far from over." He turned to the resistance group and said softly, "We must eradicate the root of this evil. We must seek the source of this contamination." Moved by the old man's words, the resistance group decided to seek answers. They ventured into the mountains, and after a long search, they found a dark and deep cave. Deep within the cave, something lurked that filled them with horror. A monstrous creature with glowing eyes and sharp teeth was sleeping in a corner of the cave. This creature was the original source of the contamination. With all their might, the resistance group attacked the creature, but the creature was incredibly powerful and easily overpowered them. Joey, a young villager with a penchant for science fiction, had an idea. He remembered a movie had seen where fire could destroy zombies. With this in mind, he and a few others from the village headed to the village storehouse and lit torches. Armed with their flaming torches, they charged towards the zombies, using the fire to eliminate them. But fire wasn't the only weapon against the undead. Zombies were terrified of loud noises and bright lights. The villagers began beating drums and banging on pots and pans, trying to drive the zombies away. They also lit large bonfires around the village to prevent the zombies from getting any closer. Despite their efforts, the zombies continued to swarm the village. They scaled walls, squeezed through cracks, and overcame any obstacle in their path. The villagers fought with all their might, but they were outnumbered and overwhelmed. Do you dare to come with us to the depth of this nightmare? Let's like the video and continue the story with high concentration. Finally, after several days of relentless and exhausting battle, the villagers were forced to abandon their homes. With tears in their eyes, they left behind their ruined village and headed toward another, a village that might one day suffer the same fate. The story of the village of Calipers is a tale that could unfold in any village. It shows that even in the most peaceful and secure places, danger can lurk around every corner. It reminds us of how small and insignificant humans are in the face of nature's forces and unexpected events. Years later, a team of scientists ventured to the abandoned village of Calipers to investigate the cause of these bizarre events. During their excavations, they discovered remnants of an underground laboratory where dangerous experiments on viruses had been conducted. One of these viruses had accidentally escaped the lab, triggering the deadly outbreak. With this discovery, the scientists realized that similar incidents could occur in other villages. They quickly traveled across the country, warning people to be vigilant and to seek medical attention immediately if they experienced any symptoms. But the story was far from over. The virus rapidly spread across the globe, plunging humanity into one of its greatest crises. People worldwide fought for survival, desperately searching for a way to combat this disease. After fleeing Calipers, the survivors sought refuge in another village. However, their joy was short-lived. The zombies soon arrived at this village as well, and terror once again gripped the inhabitants. This time, the people were better prepared. They built tall walls and sharpened fences, trying to defend themselves. But the zombies, driven by immense numbers and insatiable hunger, found ways to infiltrate the village. Meanwhile, a small group of scientists and doctors were working tirelessly to develop a vaccine or antidote. They worked day and night in their laboratories, conducting various experiments. However, time was not on their side. The zombies were becoming stronger and more intelligent with each passing day, and their numbers were growing exponentially. Meanwhile, rumors about the origin of the virus and those involved in its creation circulated among the people. Some believed the virus had been intentionally created by governments or secret organizations to reduce the world's population. Others suspected it was the result of experiments conducted by mad scientists seeking to create a new world. Eventually, scientists managed to develop a vaccine that could prevent healthy individuals from contracting the virus. However, this vaccine was ineffective in treating those who had already been infected. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, something extraordinary happened. The zombies began to lose their strength. They moved slower, became weaker, and eventually died. After studying this phenomenon, scientists discovered that the virus causing the zombie outbreak was naturally mutating and gradually losing its potency. Over time, the number of zombies decreased and life slowly began to return to normal. But the world was no longer the same. Human societies had been severely damaged, natural resources had been depleted, and trust among people had eroded.
This is not just a story. Maybe it is the truth that you have to discover, step by step with me to know what will happen to the villagers.
After months of tireless effort, scientists developed a vaccine capable of immunizing healthy individuals against the virus. However, there was no cure for those who had already been infected. The world was divided into two, the living and the dead. Meanwhile, a group of survivors decided to seek refuge deep in the forests. They believed that they would be safe from the zombies in the heart of nature, but they didn't know that the forest had become as dangerous as the cities. The virus had spread to plants and animals, creating mutated creatures that were even more savage than humans. At the same time, various groups in the cities were fighting each other for control of resources and power. Some of these groups sought to create a new and just society, while others aimed to restore the old order and exploit others. In one of these cities, a powerful religious group had risen to power under the leadership of a mad priest. This priest declared himself a prophet of God and believed that the zombies were God's punishment for humanity's sins. He ordered his followers to destroy all zombies and execute those infected with the virus. Meanwhile, a group of scientists searching for the secret of the virus discovered an underground laboratory. In this lab, they found evidence suggesting that the virus had been intentionally created by a secret organization. This organization aimed to reduce the world's population using the virus and establish a new world order. Deep in the forest, a group of survivors encountered a strange creature. This being was a hybrid of human and animal, possessing extraordinary powers. The creature offered to lead the group of survivors and help them build a new world together. In the cities, the war between the various factions intensified. Bombs rained down on innocent civilians, and the streets became battlegrounds. Amidst the chaos, some people turned to the zombies, joining their ranks. They believed that among the undead, they would be free and need not fear humans. A group of survivors who had sought refuge deep in the forest gradually realized that nature was no longer the safe haven they had imagined. Mutated plants, trees with sharp branches and poisonous fruits, and wild animals transformed into bloodthirsty monsters had turned the forest into a terrestrial hell. The group's leader, once a doctor, was trying to find a cure for the virus, but the more he researched, the more he realized the virus's complexity and danger. Meanwhile, in a large city, a powerful military group had seized power under the ruthless leadership of a general. This general believed that the only way to save humanity was to completely annihilate the zombies. He ordered his forces to eliminate all zombies at any cost, even if it means sacrificing innocent lives. Deep within a secret underground laboratory, scientists made a horrifying discovery. They realized that the zombie virus was merely one piece of a much larger puzzle. A plan to create a new breed of humans controlled by an artificial intelligence. Using the virus, this AI aimed to enslave all of humanity. While the village of Calipers was slowly returning to normalcy, a new and more sinister threat was brewing. In a small remote town, a strange phenomenon was unfolding, terrifying the inhabitants. Zombies, once mindless and lifeless creatures, were now exhibiting signs of intelligence. They could skillfully use tools, communicate with each other, and even set traps to hunt humans. These intelligent zombies, rapidly evolving, posed a far greater threat than the ordinary ones. A small group of survivors in this town, led by a young scientist, sought to uncover the reason behind this sudden change in the zombies. They conclude that the virus that had created the zombies was mutating, granting the zombies new abilities. The young scientist, using limited equipment, began studying the virus and made astonishing discoveries. The zombie virus not only caused the death of brain cells but also stimulated certain parts of the brain. This stimulation granted the zombies new abilities. However, these abilities were only the beginning. The young scientist warned that if the virus continued to evolve, the zombies could become far more intelligent and dangerous than humans. Meanwhile, the intelligent zombies were rapidly expanding their territory. They advanced from city to city, annihilating any human that crossed their path. The human armies, formed to combat ordinary zombies, stood no chance against these intelligent and organized creatures. A small group of survivors, sheltered in a small town, decided to confront this new threat. Using the young scientist's knowledge and the limited equipment at their disposal, they began developing weapons capable of destroying the intelligent zombies. But the zombies quickly adapted to these weapons and grew stronger every day. The war between humans and intelligent zombies had escalated into an all-out conflict. Major cities were falling one after another to the zombies, forcing humanity to retreat to remote and mountainous regions for survival. The young scientist, delving deeper into his research on the zombie virus, made a groundbreaking discovery. He realized that a specific type of plant could interact with the zombie virus and weaken it. However, this plant was extremely rare and grew in very remote areas. Driven by hope, the group of survivors embarked on a long and perilous journey. They had to traverse zombie-infested territories and reach a place no human had ever been before. It was a journey fraught with danger and adventure, but they hoped that by finding this plant, they could end the war against the zombies. While the survivors searched for the miraculous plant, the intelligent zombies were gradually organizing a massive army. Their goal was to annihilate the remaining humans and establish their dominion over the earth. A dark and horrifying future awaited humanity. Meanwhile, a group of survivors who had taken refuge in a small town encountered a strange phenomenon. Some of the zombies began exhibiting signs of intelligence. They could use tools, communicate with each other, and even hunt in groups. These intelligent zombies posed a far greater threat than the ordinary ones. Deep in the forest, a group of survivors stumbled upon a village that seemed untouched by the zombie outbreak. However, they were unaware that the villagers had themselves transformed into bloodthirsty vampires. These vampires hunted humans and fed on their blood. In one of the major cities, a resistance group formed, comprised of scientists, doctors, and former military personnel. They decided to rebel against the military government and the artificial intelligence. They believed that the only way to save humanity was for all people to unite and fight against the dark forces. Meanwhile, a young girl who had grown up among the zombies became a charismatic leader. She possessed the ability to communicate with the zombies and believed they could be re-educated and reintegrated into society. Anna, with her army of zombies, had become a grave threat to humanity's survival. She had built a secret city deep within the forest, where zombies lived together and were loyal to her. Anna believed that zombies were superior beings, and that the future of the world belonged to them. Meanwhile, the resistance grew, while the help of scientists had managed to develop an antidote for the zombie virus. However, this antidote was only effective on humans who had recently been infected. A completely new treatment was needed to cure the zombies. Deep in the jungle, a group of survivors discovered an underground city built during the war and designed as a safe haven from military forces. It has now become a den of mutated creatures. Anna, a young girl raised among the zombies since childhood, rapidly rose to become the leader of a horde of intelligent undead. Using her unique ability to communicate with the undead, she was able to gather an army of zombies. This army threatened not only humans but any living creature that crossed their path. Anna, with her zombie army, became a serious threat to the survival of humanity. She had built a secret city in the heart of the forest where the zombies lived together and were loyal to her. Anna believed that the zombies were superior beings and that the future of the world would be in their hands. Meanwhile, the resistance group, with the help of scientists, had succeeded in producing an antidote for the zombie virus. But this antidote was only effective on humans who had recently been infected with the virus. To cure the zombies, a completely new treatment method was needed. In the basement of a secret laboratory, scientists made a startling discovery. They realized that the zombie virus was actually a mutated form of an ancient virus capable of altering the genetic structure of living organisms. This discovery gave the scientists hope that they could find a way to control the virus and even use it to improve human life. In one of the major cities, an extremist religious group had seized power, establishing a theocratic regime. They believed that zombies were messengers of God and should be worshipped. This group forcibly compelled people to serve the zombies and provide them with food. Meanwhile, the artificial intelligence using the Globe Computer Network had gained control over many of the world's vital systems. It aimed to establish a new world order and bring all living creatures under its control. Anna, with her army of zombies, marched towards this religious city. She wanted to show this group that zombies could also have a civilized society. However, the religious group fiercely resisted her. In a bloody battle, the zombie army attacked the city. Buildings were destroyed, streets turned into battlefields, and thousands were killed. Ultimately, Anna failed to conquer the city and was defeated.
What you saw was just the beginning. Tell us your thoughts about zombies in the comments.
After her defeat, Anna fled into the wilderness. She continued to live alone and became a legendary figure. Some believe she was still alive and would one day return to seek revenge.